here's your host, Alex Garrett.
Well, I've got a journeyman journalist now. He's all over the place. My friend, actually, Julian Guilarte. Julian, I've known you for a few years. It's great to have you back on this All-Star Week. What an important conversation to have this All-Star Week. How you been?
Alex, thank you so much for having me back. I know it's been a minute. It's been a crazy year. All the stuff happening with the Yankees and all the other levels of baseball. But yesterday's game, you think they're gonna have first back, and then you get another Clay Holmes' defensive meltdown put into one. So I'm good though. Everything's good.
You've been writing some great articles on various things. I mean, you're a Yankee fan, but I see that you're writing on the Mets, and I want to go there because this year's All-Star Game participant and Home Run Derby participant, Pete Alonso, he's been in the rumor mill, and you've talked about this. I want to start there. Is there a chance that Met first baseman could be traded at the deadline? What do your sources say?
In the beginning, I thought that it could happen when I first wrote that piece, but I didn't really say the Yankees. I didn't think the Yankees were a great possibility. I mean, it would be cool because they didn't need it for the Bryce call-up, but I think he's gonna stay now because the Mets are playing good ball, and they're gonna try to race for that wild card. I think the guys have been saying that his name's kind of been off the market. The Astros are interested. I understand because they got Jose Abreu, but I think that Alonso's going to stay with the Mets.
I think so too. I mean, it was a touch and go there for a bit because obviously it's his contract year. He's not at the best one. All of a sudden, he's got 19 homers, and he and Judge have really picked up the pace. And of course, Aaron Judge is going to be the All-Star for the Yanks this week. And what's your thoughts on him? Because in April, Twitter thought he should be benched or sent down, and now he's literally under 30 home runs to 63. I mean, this guy is on another record pace. What are you seeing from him?
I just can't believe it's happening again. It's 34 home runs. Last time it was less than this at the break because I know Judge just cracked a list of the most home runs before an All-Star break with some of the people on there like Bonds at 39. But Aaron Judge is an incredible force. You look at what he does for the lineup, and he just continues to get better somehow, playing better in the 2022 season. 2023 was on his way, but he got injured. So he still had 40 home runs under 100 games. So it's just the stretch he's been on these past few years is really solidifying his status as the best player in the game currently.
You mentioned Ben Rice, and I know you probably covered him at Somerset. Any interaction with him, and are you surprised that he's been off to this hot start? Look, it was a little slow there, but then he picked it up. He had the 3 home runs as a rookie, first time ever in a game. Did you see that potential when he was at Somerset?
Yeah, there was some chats with Rice that have been had. I saw the potential for a great bat. I wasn't sure about where his defense he stood because I didn't really feel like he was the best catcher. Yankees have a bunch of catchers. First base kind of seems like a better fit. He's doing all right defensively for now. His bat's been really good. He has some good contact too, besides just the home runs. And I was starting to taper off a little bit, but it's the peaks and valleys being a rookie. So we'll see how he looks going forward. I just thought that Rice was very happy with what was going on. He's very thankful for the opportunities he's been given. So I think he'll keep working hard, and that bat should stick in the lineup. And we'll see what happens if and when Rizzo returns also.
Are you going to get to see him again at Woodbridge? Because I'm debating whether to go down there. I know it's sold out, but you never know. Are you going down to see him?
No, I'm not going to be there to see him this week, but I am going to look at that Jack Curry event with Jose Trevino, Tommy Kahnle, and there's one more I forgot. Maybe it's Waldo Cabrera. Yeah, I will try that one, though.
And they added Clark Schmidt, too, if I'm not mistaken, and Luke Weaver. It's going to be a big deal on Monday, August 5th. That being said, you mentioned last night the Yanks, and we were at Citi Field, and I'm like, wait a minute, the Yanks are up 5-3. How did they lose 6-5? I see the highlights. I can't blame Volpe entirely. I also, for what it's worth, Holmes has not been able to be in a safe situation quite often toward the July and June months. So I feel like in that role, he's a bit rusty in it, but it doesn't excuse the fact he's now blown 2 saves. But my question to you is, Yanks have now missed 2 sweeps, the Royals and the Orioles, due to all of this 9th inning chaos. How do they recover from it after the break? I feel like they can't recover. They didn't recover in Boston, right? And then they, of course, lose to Boston in that ninth inning on the Friday night. But how should they recover from your eyes in the second half from those missed sweeps?
They need to make deals because you can't just rely on Clay Holmes to close it out. He has like 6 blown saves. You mentioned 3 of them right there. He's just been a wreck ever since starting fast. And yeah, the defense is at fault. But again, Clay Holmes doesn't miss any bats really. And he also walks too many guys, like the guys he shouldn't walk. And that's what gets him into trouble in these situations. I mean, yeah, the defensive plays have to be made by Volpe and Verdugo, and the Yankees should win the game. But he needs to be a lot better. He just hasn't been, and I need to make some trades. And I'd also look to call up Jack Neely, but he hasn't pitched in a little while. So now I'm wondering if he's hurt too, like all the other guys down there. But yeah.
And Luke Weaver, Luke Weaver's been a candidate for closer. They just haven't been able to get that going. Should they in the second half?
No, I don't want Weaver closing because I need him to go multi-innings sometimes. They need Weaver in the role he's in now. So I would not have him close. I think.
And I broke my rule. It's actually the second part of the season. See, I broke my rule there, Julian. It's not the second half. It's the second part. But that's another story.
It's really funny. Like I used to always think it was halfway, but like now it's just been like well more towards the first half being over.
The thing about these 2 teams, the Mets and the Yankees, are, despite all the chaos and the craziness in this first half, first part of the season, they have ended pretty well to get to the break. And I didn't think that was possible. Like, I didn't think the Mets would recover from 0-5. I didn't think the Yanks would be able to go to Baltimore and I would say dominate in a sense. Even though they lost yesterday, they finally won a series. I didn't see that about a week ago. Is this baseball, or what did they change up both teams to get into the groove they have heading to the All-Star break?
I think the Mets found a lot of belief in a lot of their players. I think the offense looked good. Their starting rotation's been bent its own break. Their bullpen's been a wreck, but they've gotten some big outs. So, I think the Mets are just they were underperforming to begin the year. So I think there was some correction on that, and then they've gotten some excellent performances from the likes of Vientos, like Jose Iglesias, like guys you wouldn't expect before the season started, which helps. Lindor's been pretty solid. Nimmo's been great. Alvarez is good whenever he plays. They seem to win. So it's like a lot of good stuff clicking. With the Yankees, I'm not fully satisfied because I was surprised they won the series too, but that's the point that you have to finish the job and actually sweep the team, especially to get first place and have the season series be tied. The first 2 games are really good. I think you just got good pitching and you got timely hitting. And the Orioles, let's be honest, they're not playing too good either. And they got lucky to even win 1 game. They got swept by the Cubs. So, I mean, the Yankees got lucky that the Orioles kind of went through it at the same time.
Now, of all the rumors going around, what is solid? What is just rumor? And what do you see going down at the deadline? Who are the Yanks in line for or in the running for?
Okay, I'm trying to process all this. I think Tanner's got a realistic target, but the problem is there's a bunch of people going for him. But I think that's the guy they should try to pick up for the bullpen. And then I think Carlos Estevez from the Angels, another reliever that lines up. I think they might want to get Luis Renfingo with him too, maybe. A little bit torn about Renfingo. Like, he does some things well, but I don't know how sustainable it is. But they do need a better option at third base, so I wouldn't be opposed to that one. Maybe Jack Flaherty from the Tigers if they want an extra starter. That would be a nice little deal potentially. So that's what I would say. I mean, they need at least 2 bullpen arms, hopefully an infielder, and maybe a starting pitcher.
All right, Julian, I know you are a frustrated fan, and I know that frustration bleeds into the Gleyber Torres camp as well. So Are you hoping he goes to the deadline? Do you want him to shape up his contract year? Like, what are your thoughts on Glaber?
I think the Yankees got to ride it out. I think they just got to see if he can get it together in the second.
Because he is a good hitter. When he's on point, he is an extremely helpful part of this team. Can we say that?
Absolutely, and I saw like good signs of him like starting to hit a little bit better these past few games too. I thought he always hits decently, Camden yards. He has some hits against the Rays. I think he definitely will be a lot better in the second half. I think there's zero purpose in trading him because there's two reasons why I wouldn't do it. The first one is that its value is going to be terrible. Let's be honest about that to start. And then the second thing is that I don't want to create another hole, make a new position opening because, like, who's going to play second base if you trade him?
What about on the Mets side? And I like that we're having this balanced conversation about both teams because you do cover both teams. And I see that you're with Fan Nation and Latino Sports. I know you cover basically the grounds of Yankee Stadium and Citi Field. So let's go with the Mets as well here. I know people were knocking Tyrone Taylor, but he ends up being a good piece to this lineup. What changes would you make? I mean, DJ Stewart is on and off. Is the DH spot still a weak spot for them?
No, because they got JD Martinez, so I don't know.
Yes, JD Martinez, that's true.
For them. I think their lineup's basically fine. If you want to add a bat, maybe in the I guess outfield, the infield seems a little bit full. Unless they want to try to like do something at second with Jeff McNeil because he hasn't been great. I think that they need bullpen help. The Mets need bullpen help, and more bullpen help. And maybe a starting pitcher, but I don't know if they necessarily need it since Senga's returning. But bullpen is their main concern.
Well, right now you mentioned JD Martinez. Here's a guy that came up a little later, but from injury and everything like that. But he's provided the spark that I don't think Met fans were expecting because he's a little older, right? So what goes into that magic of JD Martinez? What has he changed from what you've seen?
JD's so good. I mean, the team really rallies around JD too. Like he has them take extra meetings. Like he's working with all the guys, the hitters. Like, so JD's been a big leader and mentor for the Mets, and he's very professional with his at bats. Doesn't get cheated. Doesn't take a bad at bat. Always quality with him. And even though he's 37, he's still getting the job done. He's hitting well, so he's another anchor for that Mets team. And the clubhouse is really rallying around those guys. The leaders of the team with the Lindors and Martinez everything's looking good for them. And the fact that they have the third wild card spot after being 11 games under 500, who would have thought, right?
Yeah, no, that is so true. I mean, they are in the thick of this now after all of that. And of course, the Jose Iglesias. Ever known an active player to put out a song mid-season? I've never seen that before. That was a first.
I absolutely love that story. He's a good guy too. I spoke to him a little bit. I know there's artists that have made songs before that play baseball and other sports, but like I can't think of something quite like the post-game concert that actually had results like that. It was really cool. I wish I was there for that one. It would have been a fun day. But I saw all the videos and the stadium was going nuts. Good times in Queens right now. Yankees end on a sort of good note, but in the last game, just like in 2021 when the Yankees got walked off against the Astros and they were up like 6-2 in the ninth inning going into the second half.
Well, let me ask you this, Julian, because you've also seen a couple guys make their rehab starts in Somerset, right? Garrett Cole made his way down there to rehab, and DJ LeMahieu. Am I wrong to say they might have brought up Garrett a little too soon, or did you think when you saw him in Somerset, okay, he looks ready? What were your thoughts on all that? And DJ too, I want to ask you about him as well.
Okay, Garrett, I think they could have maybe did one more rehab, but when they sent him out of AAA, he was looking good. He had like 10 Ks in around 5 innings. I was like, all right, I mean, I guess that works. I mean, it's not the same, obviously. He did, 3 rehab starts? It could have maybe did 4. You definitely saw some rough patches in the beginning against Baltimore the first time. The Mets got him really good. Boston wasn't great, but you saw what Garrett Cole can do against Toronto, and you saw what he could do against the Orioles this weekend. So I think everything's fine now. Pitch count's like where it should be. So I guess it was all good. Maybe they could have do one more, but I don't think it's too bad.
And then DJ, I mean, look, DJ is finally finding his swing, but that was a guy who had to go through this rehabbing as well. And when he first got called, first got back in the majors, everybody was so excited. He has struggled since he came back up, but the signs are there. I mean, the fact he's going the opposite way with that baseball in the batter's box, hitting the opposite way for him is a big part of his game.
Yeah, it is, but I'll be honest with you, and you might know already, but I don't share the same optimism you do with DJ LeMahieu. I think the Yankees really need to find a third baseman quickly. I'm just not sold on anything with him anymore, and his power is non-existent. I think his better days are well behind him, honestly. I really do.
All right, I want to talk about the other JD because I got to be honest, and I think I voiced this maybe on X or whatever, but I know that Trent Grisham in the lineup kind of irks me sometimes because it feels like he's not contributing as much as he could or whatever. He's just struggling a lot of the time. Yeah, he has his highlights, but he's struggling a lot. Why aren't they playing guys like Waldo and even, you get JD Davis and he's sitting on the bench? I mean, why not give him a few at-bats as well?
Well, there's a couple of things here, I would say. First of all, I think Grisham's arrow is actually pointing up. Yesterday, he basically put the team on his back. He's been hitting a lot better considering how bad he started the season. That one play against the Reds was awful. I don't know what the hell that was. But other than that, his defense has been great. It always is. His bat is pretty aggravating. I understand. He takes a lot of pitches, man. He really doesn't like swinging that much. So, that's another problem with him as well. But considering how poorly he started, I think he's actually been swinging the bat relatively well.
And then what about playing Waldo more? Because I know that people want, like Madison and others want Waldo to play more. Nathan, our mutual friend Nathan, says play Waldo more. What are your thoughts on that?
I was about to get to that. So I think I'd like to see him more in DJ for sure. But the thing is I don't know if he can just be your starting third baseman. I don't know if I've seen enough on offense to just hand him the keys to the job fully, but I would like to see some more action. JD Davis went down with the stomach flu. That's why you didn't see him this weekend. But I'm very aggravated at the fact that they call it Vivas and they don't even use him. I thought they could have gave him some shots out there, especially with how bad we've been hitting. But that was just to hold the bench spot, I guess. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, I'm all right with Waldo, but I need to see him hit a little bit better if he's gonna play more. But with that being said, I do want him in there more than DJ. Yeah.
I know the stomach flu thing was really weird because, it was just an odd thing to go down with, but that's what it was. Now, talking about Vivas, I know everybody was excited to see him play, call him up. What's it like for you, though, to get to know all these guys at the AA, AAA level? I mean, is there sort of a privilege you feel or a pride you feel that you get to interview all these guys before they get called up?
Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy some of it. It has been a fun ride, seeing that we could talk to some of the people before they go all the way up, like the Rices of the world, the Volpes, Dominguez, Wells. But yeah, it's a little bit tough because you want the guys to get called up. They take a while sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't happen. They get traded to other teams because now it's deadline season. So a lot of guys are going to be going that we like. So that's going to be a little bit tough. But we'll have to see what the returns bring and if it's actually worth it. It's definitely been very hit or miss these last few trade deadlines for sure. So a lot of stuff's going to go down, and hopefully it's the right moves to get them towards the World Series.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Everybody still says Cash should be fired and Boone should be fired. But, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I am not in that camp. I think we got to let the season play out. What are your thoughts?
Just in the thoughts that I need to see something different sooner rather than later. Let it go now. Don't do anything right now. But like, I want to see this team needs to make the World Series at a minimum, if not win it. And I can't see another early playoff exit and it's the same result. Like, getting to the ALCS does nothing for me at this point.
Well, right. And to me, the only thing I would say, as I mentioned before, and I know Grisham was picking up what that was a weak spot, which frustrated me. But, if he can produce, that's all we want. We want these guys to keep hitting and whatnot. Julian, who was your favorite interview you've done this whole first part of the season?
First part of the season. I did just talk with Dawson Brown, who's going to get drafted. He's Kevin Brown's son, so I'll just give you that one.
Well, I was going to ask you about the draft because now you got a whole new selection to cover down in the minors. Who was the best draft pick last, over on Sunday night for the Yankees?
I just was looking at some of the stuff. I think Cunningham was maybe a better pick than Hess. I was a little surprised with Hess. I think Hess will be all right probably, but like, was he worth the 26th pick? Like, I'm not going to be an expert and say like definitely not, but like I was a little surprised. I thought they'd look towards third base maybe, even though some reports came out they wanted a lot of pitchers, but I think both guys have high upside, though. Apparently, they could both be like 2 to 3 starters if everything goes well. So we'll see how that looks. I think they want to replace some pitching. The pitching and the system's taking a little bit of a hit recently. So I understand it from that standpoint. But to me, I think you're going to agree with me too when we're talking about it. This team desperately needs a future third baseman. They have no answer for someone to play third base going forward.
Yeah, that third base slot is going to be, a competition, if you will. Now, you mentioned college, and I just remember this. You were down at the SEC tournament for that crazy game, right? If I'm not mistaken, tell us about your time covering the SEC tournament this year.
I covered ACC in Charlotte.
Oh, ACC, that's right. Sorry about that.
It's all good. Yeah, no. So the crazy game I
went.
Wait,
let me re-ask that so I can edit it cleanly. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Now, Julian, I asked you your favorite interview, but the favorite game you covered might not have been from the Major League Baseball, right? You got to cover the ACC tournament this past spring.
Yeah, I think the favorite game I covered this year was probably UNC versus Wake Forest. I saw Chase Burns throw 6 scoreless. Gave up maybe 1 run actually, but like 14 Ks, might have been 1 run of 15 Ks. But regardless of the point, he got picked 2nd overall by the Reds last night, and for good reason. And then there was a battle with North Carolina, like extra innings. North Carolina came back after being down 4-0. Then Wake Forest ties in the 9th, and then Wake Forest wins in extra. So it was a crazy game. This guy Nick Cruz, who was picked by the A's 4th overall, had like a big home run and a big double. So all the big players ended up playing really well. Like Vance Honeycutt had a good day that day from North Carolina. So that's why it was a really special game. Like you got a marquee matchup with like the top end talent playing really well, and it was the best game by far.
Now, in your college coverage, is that always fun to see these guys perform and then get called up? I mean, do you ever maintain connections with them after they get called up?
I've never had a guy go that I knew in college like go all the way through. Like most times, it's been like I'll meet them after they get drafted. But
or
like,
drafted, yeah.
I never religiously follow someone's college career like all the way through, but that will change this year. But we'll see how long it takes these guys because like it's gonna be a little bit probably, but not everyone schemes, so we'll have to see how everyone.
That is amazing. Now, your thoughts on Skenes getting in there? He's a rookie; he hasn't played the amount of time. I mean, is the exception to be made, though? I feel like it is for him to be in the All-Star game tomorrow night.
I actually thought they handled this great. I'm really surprised he ends up getting a nomination. I didn't think they were gonna. I thought they were too dumb to do it. So they actually got out of their own way. They made the right decision. They let everyone know early. I think it's good for the game. The game needs stars. That's exactly what he is. And we're going to get to see him try to mow down the best hitters on the planet with like 100-mile-an-hour stuff. And it's going to be great. I think he's only going to throw an inning probably, I would guess. Maybe 2 if the first one's really light. But it's going to be special to see him pitch. And guy's a unique talent, and I think he deserves all of it, honestly.
He's a rookie that's hit a couple teams here through 7. Now that's the big part through 7. Why are they taking him out early? I mean, is there a lot of babying going on that you are pissed off at as a baseball fan?
Yeah, there is a little bit. I would have liked to see him go get it too. I mean, I guess they say he'll have plenty of chances to get more. I mean, I guess he probably will, but it's like he only had 99. Like they could have made. But the thing is, like, if they decide to go a little bit, they probably would have had to go like all the way. So maybe they just didn't want to like put themselves in that position to like have to pick a weird number.
By the way, people are so excited about Skenes Judge, aren't you? I'm excited to see that matchup. I think it's going to happen in the first inning tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, it should happen. I'm excited for it. Maybe Soto and Skenes too. That'll be interesting as well. Skenes is really incredible. I'd like to see him pitch live too. I've never got to see anything from him. Guy's electric, the splinker, like he's got a million pitches. Strikes out about 11 Brewers the other day with 7-0 in innings. Guy's a robot. I'm excited to see what he's gonna do.
Yep. Sometimes LSU doesn't miss with their talent. That's for sure. I mean, look who else came out of that college organization. One Joe Burrow, right? So they don't miss with their recruiting.
And no, their football's ridiculous. Their baseball's getting pretty good too, honestly. Here's a good question for you. So do you want the Yankees to take a shot at Tommy Tanks?
So you know more about the draft than I do. I just follow it from the journalist perspective. But I always think it's amazing how they're able to draft, and then guys do make it to the bigs. But I haven't followed that closely. But tell us more about Tommy Tanks.
He's a big power hitter. He's really not a third baseman per se. He's probably more of a first baseman or DH, which might have been part of the problem. But Tommy Tanks is a great hitter, and he has like a bunch of home run records at LSU. He actually hits for average well too. I don't think his K rate's too bad, and I think he walks a decent amount. But like, I guess we'll see how it translates at the next level as he goes up.
I felt like this College World Series, this whole playoffs thing with the College World, was most watched. I mean, a lot of people were watching this more so than before. What do you think the change has been to get more people involved with college baseball?
I think they're showing it more. They're giving more options to watch it, which is good. Like you could stream a lot of the games on your phone. Like back in the day, there was no coverage of like the other games. I just remember like College World Series. Maybe they did like super regionals, but they never did regional coverage. But now you can watch all of them on your phone with ESPN Plus. I think people are getting more excited. I think there's two things. I think it's because you got the correlation of the prospects popping more in the minors. People are paying way more attention to that. And with that, people want to know like how they're getting there from college and like high school and all that. So like that's like making people watch college more to see like who the good prospects are going to be.
Yeah, it's and especially for me with St. John's, a half mile from my Queens home, seeing them go far and into
did you go to some of the? I'm guessing you went to some of the baseball games, right?
I wish I was actually in Port Washington most of the spring, working like a hospitalized in May, so it was a little bit of a challenge. But I am trying to strike up a connection with them because they are sort of a hometown baseball team, and to see them do well, I don't know if you saw, I did the play-by-play a little bit when they were down in Virginia because I felt no one else could listen to this. So let me do a little bit. I tag one of the guys, and now I got a St. John's baseball guy following me. So there you go. It happens like that.
Yeah, I want to check out some John's ball too next year, maybe in Rutgers. Like Rutgers wasn't great, but they have some all right players. So I want to see some more local college ball for sure. I was rooting for the Johnnies because we've been cool at a local team. Like I wish we could get a super regional appear somehow, but that's never going to happen because like you have to be like a top 16 team to get that. We just don't have no ammo up here for Northeast.
I mean, that'd be great. I think Citi Field would be a great venue, or Yankee Stadium, to do something like that. That would be kind of special. But that being said, I want to sort of wrap with a couple more questions here.
Yeah, go
Julian,
ahead.
Firstly, is Juan Soto the culture change that I thought he was going to be in April after he made that incredible throw to nail down, at third and all that on opening day, or home rather? Is he the culture change that we thought, or what? I feel like his second part of the first half of the season has been, since he hurt his forearm, a little slower. But what are your thoughts on him? Is he a culture change for this team?
That's actually a very good question. Like, I'm torn. I'm gonna wrestle with this. I'm gonna give you two sides to the snake here, but like, I would say I wanted to say yes in the beginning, and I was fully on board with that. And the second half of this beginning hasn't been as good, but he's still getting it done. He's still homer the other night. I know we won that game 6-1, but like, I think it's tough to say it's fully changed the culture because of all the stuff we just saw happen in this bad stretch. Like, I thought that was something we would get away from, but I'm not going to fully put it on him. But like, there's issues with the team that go way deeper than him. Like, I'm not sold on like the structure of how they do things still, and like, you see the pitching problems, which has nothing to do with him, and then the injury bug that continues to go over the team, and you have all these guys injured in the minors that no one even fully knows about. So I don't know. I can't say he's fully changed it, but I think he makes the team a lot better. That's what I'll say.
You wish this team was a first pitch hitting team? That's the other criticism I've heard of this team, is that they're not hitting in the first pitch, they're taking their pitches. The 90s teams were able to ground down all these pitchers, but is this a different game where they have to swing at that first pitch sometimes?
I don't hate this first pitch hacking, but like, again, like, I need people to be more selective as well. The 90s teams, yeah, they wore you down. The early 2000s teams, someone's gonna win, but those guys walked a lot too. I remember watching the guys grind to the at bats, like the Giambis and Teixeiras of the world. Never like it's one of the pitches they like, and that's what you see with Juan Soto as well. I think if you're on the lower half of the batting order, you should be looking to jump the first pitches more probably.
And on that note, who will lead off in the second part of the season? Is it going to go back to Volpe? Is it going to be Verdugo? What are they going to do?
That's a problem as well, and I think they need to address that during the trade deadline because I don't see anyone on this roster that's actually earned the right to lead off. I mean, Ben Rice has been solid, but is he a leadoff hitter? Probably not really, honestly. He's probably better in the middle or the lower part of the order, like in the 5. If Ben Rice is hitting like in the 6 or 7 hole, like that's way better than what you're seeing now. And this is no disrespect to him, but he's a rookie and he's hitting first, he's hitting 4. Like, what are we doing out here? Like, we need Stan back. Like, this isn't how it should be.
All right, and on a personal note, your goals as a journalist this entire rest of the season, any big names you want to land to interview, either through your podcast, your vlog, your writing? What's your goals for the second part of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I want to get some more rain content done. I have some work to do later today. And then like, yeah, interviews, like, I don't know the exact people right now, but like, I definitely want to try to get some decent names for the show and all that, see what we could do. But like, we'll see how that goes. I don't really have anything to reveal right now.
All right, well, we'll keep our eyes to both your Twitter and your Instagram. On X, you are Mr. Julian Guilarte, Guilarte1, and on Instagram it's 11, right? Julian Guilarte11.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for your time as always, and let's catch back up in September when the call up. So maybe to know some of the guys that are going to make the 40-man roster.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm always down. I'll share it when it comes out and all that. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you, and hopefully I can play a second half a lot better. Like I came yesterday, but what are you gonna do?
Live to see another day. That's all. Now, hopefully, you and I get to see each other at the stadium this summer. We got a whole half to go, so let's link up this year.
Yeah, let me know. I'll let you know what games I go to. I haven't been going out there as much because I've been a little bit busy, but I'm gonna try to do more in the second half. We'll see.
Julian Guilarte on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network. Thanks again, Julian.
Thank you, and have a good one.